Hello, I'm Kate the Cat, also known as Caitlin8248 on DeviantArt. I am doing an extension of Jinyjinjin's Artist Alley tutorial for beginners, Artist Alley 101. Because you're going to be wondering, well, how am I supposed to do this? Well, I'm going to give you an extension of how to make really cheap keychains that actually look really nice, and they don't look cheap at all. Now, you don't need to go out and buy acrylic cases or any of these fancy schmancy keychain things, because it's a waste of your money, unless you like that kind of thing. I'm personally one for just doing it the simple way and doing it, I don't know. This is just me. But if you want to learn how to make really cute, cheap keychains and get a lot of bang for your buck, well, keep watching. Now, let's begin. You need a drawing. Now, you can do this digitally. I personally like to do them traditionally. Why I like to do them traditionally, I don't know. I think they have a little more, little niche or something. I don't know, I think they're special. It's like, I don't know, I think digital takes the soul out of a keychain, but that's just me. Anyway, I'm going to show you. So, I started out by, here's some keychains. Voila. These will be actually sold at Anime North, but this is not the place for advertising. So, I'm just gonna pick, for now, I'm gonna pick Birdie. Birdie the Mighty here. And what you do, all you do to start it off, you cut the keychain out. Now, this is where I highly recommend, what kind of paper do you use? You use some kind of hard paper. Do not use computer paper. Use like I personally like to use cardstock. You can also use Bristol board or some like heavy-duty marker paper. It's all up to you. Just make sure that it's heavy, some kind of heavy paper, and not like computer printed paper. Why would you be printing on that anyway? Okay, you would be printing on that for buttons or something like that, where you're actually going to mold it to something like a metal, but don't do it for anything else. Okay. Now, we have her kind of cut out. You see? Pretty birdie. Now, what do we do next? Well, to protect her, you don't just cut a hole. You don't punch a hole in her, and that's the end of it. That's not cool. Because she'll break, because she might get wet. There's a lot of things that could happen to her. So, self-adhesive. Yes, you can get the self-adhesive. Do not buy the big don't buy the 10-pack for $10, don't do it. Buy the 50-pack for $25. I know it's $15 more, but it's worth it. You're getting more bang for your buck. Okay. Now, you can do it the hot lamination way, or where, you crank it. But I'm a little more comfortable when I'm just doing it this way, because it's all by hand, and I know what I'm doing. But beware, you might screw up a couple times, so if you screw up, I don't typically charge if it's on the back, because it's like, that doesn't, it's like, why are you looking at the back anyway? I don't know. Anyway, I know I ramble a lot, so I'm sorry for rambling, but that's just how I talk. Anyway, you take the adhesive. You can do it either way, either front and back end, I don't know what you want to call it. I typically do the front first, because, you have a better chance less of a chance of screwing up in the whole keychain in itself. So you just lay it down flat. Lay it down flat. You see that she's, encased. And you don't stop here, you do it twice. Do it twice, and it will make it really, really strong. It will be waterproof. And you're gonna ask me, how do I know this? I've made many of these, and all the customers who I've always liked to keep in contact. All the customers who come back to me always tell me how nice these are, and they don't break. The worst that happens to them is either A, the metal grommet comes out, which I'll show you in a moment, or B, they bend. That's about it. They don't break. Okay, now we do the back. Do it the same way you did the front. Alright, and make sure it's tight. I'm telling you, tight, because you could screw up so easily. And then you're gonna scream, and you're gonna get angry. I've done it before. Alright, now she's encased. And as you can see, she's flexible, but she's not gonna, like, you can't really rip her. I know I just did that really fast. But anyway, now I'm gonna start cutting her out. I typically cut on the paper. You can cut around the paper. It's all personal preference of what you really want to do. And as I'm cutting her out, I'm gonna start talking about where can I get all these materials that you're talking about. Well, a percentage of all this, you can get at an office store. Yes, at the office store. You would never think, like Office Depot, Office Max, Staples, whatever floats your boat. I don't know what you really want, how much you really want to spend, and you have to look around, or what you want to do with it, because if you're doing reprints and stuff like that, they're going to be a little bit of a different ball game than, in a different ballpark than, traditionally done. Alright, she's all cut out. See, she's very pretty. And how much does all this cost? Let me give you a range. The cardstock that I buy, I just buy the simple stuff at Walmart, because I'm not really willing to go to Target and spend $4.75 for a pack of 75 sheets when I can go to Walmart and pay $5.19 for 150 sheets. Yeah, I don't know, it just, you know, that's how I feel about it. But again, it's all your paper type, what you want to do. Again, get the lamination sheets, get them in the big pack, don't get the small pack. You might think you will only use the small pack and you won't. No, get the big pack. More is better in this situation, especially lamination. Although I will fight with you if you really want to get like the lamination that you can if you screw up you can take it off and it won't ruin the picture. That stuff is really nice, but you won't find it in the big pack. So just get used to the old, you know, the stuff that if you screw up, you screw up, and that's it. Let's see, you get a hole puncher anywhere, but I'm going to show you this. I haven't punched a hole in her yet, but grommet puncher, or puncher, whatever you want to call it, and then grommets. These grommets, these little metal things, are the same things on your chucks, your Converse. I call them chucks. I don't know. Everybody else does. Anyway, now all you do is you just punch a hole in her. Pick and try not. You see how I do it? I know you don't see a whole lot, but do yourself the favor and don't cut too close to where the edge is, because if you do, you have more of a tendency, if you screw up on the grommet, to rip it. And yes, the grommet is strong enough to rip it if you're really pulling on it. It's basically indestructible, but you can have your moments, especially if you clip it too close. Okay. Now here comes the really fun part, because my, when I'm going to be honest, my grommet puncher, I'm waiting for my new one. So, what you do is now you have to, push metal on metal. It's totally what you want to do on a Saturday night. And now you're going to ask me, how much do I want to price these? Well, I hate sounding like some, mean businesswoman, but you are looking to make money, along with doing what you love. I typically, for my reprints, I price them at about $2 each, because I feel like if they're not the originals, I'm not going to make you pay a whole lot if they're not the originals. But if they're the original, like this birdie is, that I'm never going to repeat, then I say go ahead and sell them at about $4. Especially if they're original, one of a kind. Because if you were here, you would actually see that I use glitter pens, and I do actually make the metal shine. So, it is all about how much effort you put into it, how much you, really want to, what you really want to do with it. Because it can also, don't overprice the keychain, but don't underprice it. I've noticed for myself, $4 is a great price for them. Because people will buy them, especially because you explain to them that you can't buy them anywhere else. Nobody else has one. You're gonna ask me about, same with what Jinyjinjin suggested about, popular characters. However, I've noticed with keychains, you don't have to always do popular because, especially for those, niche fans that are, like, the super underground, you'll meet them. I say a lot. They typically appreciate when they can find something they can't find anywhere else. Like, for example, when I was back at ToraCon 2010, I do actually remember making about 30 one-of-a-kind Hitalia keychains. And they were my bestseller because I was selling not just, like, Italy and Germany, I was selling, like, the really not-so-known ones, like, I just love sticking my nose, like, Cuba and Korea and a couple, I know I did Finland when it wasn't very popular, I did quite a few different ones. Now, you should I personally would say do a couple more than just one series, but really, it is a good idea to get into niches. Niches are always looking for their fandom, and especially if it's a hard one. But don't go too far, because I've had things like Sign-Words of a Sensei, and nobody knows what that is. And cookies and props to you if you do. Alright. Now she is all grommeted in. You see her metal. Her metal actually makes it harder for you to push it out. Although you always should check and see if it could push out, because sometimes, especially with a bad grommet puncher like mine is being right now, you can have lots of incidents of where they'll be like, oh, I don't want to work. But for the sake of this video, and I'm not going to make this like 18 minutes long, I'm going to just get to the point and get a key ring. You can use any kind of keychain or whatever you feel. It's preference, but you can buy the little packs. You can get it like Walmart, but I personally like to get the really big pack. I got the really big pack with like 500 that I'm not gonna run out of in like 5 years, because I only produce so many keychains a year. And voila, you have a super cute, cheap keychain. Now, however you want to do this, or what your materials, it's all up to you, but just remember, this guideline, that, your keychains will probably cost about, $1 to $2 to produce. Remember this. Depending on what you do. If you're doing a traditional like I do, where I use Copics, I don't factor Copics. Copics can be used in anything, so I don't factor them. Your lamination sheets will be about 50 cents a sheet if you're buying the 25 pack. Unless, don't do the stupid thing and buy the $10 pack that only has 10 sheets, because then you're paying $1 a sheet. Grommet, a hole puncher, you can get these for 99 cents. Just so you know how big these things are, this is about a 1 by 8. So when you're getting your grommet puncher, remember to get a 1 by 8. Especially if you're using just a standard, get it at the office store, Office Depot kind of place. Grommet punch, you're gonna have a tougher time finding one of these. You could probably find one in a hobby store, but they're gonna be probably really pricey, so get them online. You won't need a super crazy expensive one or all that good, because you're only punching paper, so you don't really need like a big fancy schmancy, like spend 25 bucks on it. Get just like a $10 one. And then your grommets, make sure you have a ton of these, because you will screw up. I screw up all the time, and I've been doing this for like 2 years. So your price range will be $1 or $2 for producing one, unless you're doing reprints. Then it's gonna be like $1 or so. So just remember this guideline, and I hope I was very helpful. I'm sorry about my rambling. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you do well at your first table. Or first time selling keychains. So, goodbye.